From the snow-capped peaks of towering mountains to the meandering rivers that crisscross vast plains, freshwater ecosystems are the lifeblood of our planet. These precious habitats teem with a rich tapestry of life, providing sustenance and sanctuary to countless species, including our own. Yet these vital ecosystems are facing an unprecedented threat: climate change. Its impacts are far-reaching, altering the very fabric of these delicate environments and jeopardizing the delicate balance of life within them. Join us now as we delve into 7 ways climate change is impacting freshwater ecosystems around the globe. As temperatures rise across the globe, the impact on our planet's water bodies is becoming increasingly evident. So too do the waters that sustain life in our rivers, lakes, and streams. These changes are not just minor fluctuations. They represent a significant shift in the natural balance. This seemingly subtle shift has profound consequences for the creatures that call these waters home. The delicate ecosystems that have thrived for centuries are now under threat. For cold water species like the iconic salmon, their very survival hinges on the cool, oxygen-rich waters they require. These fish are adapted to specific conditions that are rapidly changing. Yet, as water temperatures climb, their habitats shrink, pushing them towards the brink. The areas where they can thrive are becoming fewer and farther between. Imagine the plight of a young salmon navigating a once familiar river, only to find the waters have become a stifling labyrinth. The journey that was once instinctual is now fraught with peril. The very oxygen they need to breathe becomes scarce, their energy depleted in the struggle for survival. The warm waters hold less oxygen, making it harder for them to sustain themselves. This warming trend also sets the stage for a cascade of ecological disruptions. The interconnected web of life in these waters is being unraveled. Dissolved oxygen, the lifeblood of aquatic ecosystems, dwindles as temperatures rise. This decline affects not just fish, but all forms of aquatic life. Fish, invertebrates, and other aquatic organisms, already stressed by the heat, face an increasingly suffocating environment. Their ability to survive and reproduce is severely compromised. The delicate balance of life within these ecosystems hangs precariously, threatened by the invisible hand of climate change. The future of these waters and the life they support is uncertain. Water, the lifeblood of our planet, follows a delicate and intricate dance dictated by the rhythms of precipitation and evaporation. This natural cycle has sustained life for millennia, nurturing ecosystems and supporting biodiversity. Yet, climate change is disrupting this ancient choreography, altering the flow of freshwater ecosystems with unpredictable consequences. The once predictable patterns of water flow are now erratic, causing concern among scientists and environmentalists. In some regions, the heavens open with increasing fury, unleashing torrents of water that overwhelm rivers and lakes. These intense downpours can lead to sudden and devastating floods. Floods, once rare occurrences, become more frequent and severe, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Communities are displaced, infrastructure is damaged, and the natural environment suffers greatly. Habitats are inundated, fish spawning grounds are decimated, and the delicate balance of life is thrown into disarray. Aquatic species struggle to survive in these altered conditions. Yet, in other corners of the world, a different story unfolds. The absence of rain leads to prolonged droughts, creating a stark contrast to the flooding seen elsewhere. Drought tightens its grip, parching the land and shrinking once mighty rivers into mere trickles. The lack of water affects not only the environment but also human populations who rely on these water sources. Water scarcity becomes the new norm, forcing wildlife to compete for dwindling resources. Animals gather around the few remaining water sources, struggling to find enough to sustain themselves. The very lifeblood of these ecosystems dwindles, leaving behind a parched and vulnerable landscape. The future of these regions hangs in the balance, dependent on our actions to mitigate climate change and restore natural water cycles. Rain, once a life-giving force, is now becoming a carrier of pollutants, a silent transporter of unseen dangers, washing away excess nutrients from human activities and delivering them into our freshwater ecosystems. This nutrient overload, primarily fueled by agricultural runoff and urban wastewater, is like a toxic feast that throws these delicate ecosystems into disarray. Imagine a pristine lake, its surface shimmering like 1,000 jewels, reflecting the beauty of nature. Now picture it choked by a thick mat of green algae, a consequence of the excess nutrients fueling their explosive growth. These algal blooms can spread rapidly, covering vast areas of water in a short period. These algal blooms, while seemingly innocuous, are harbingers of ecological imbalance. They disrupt the natural order, creating a hostile environment for many aquatic species. As they spread, they block sunlight from reaching the depths, suffocating the life below. The underwater world, once teeming with life, becomes a dark and inhospitable place. Decomposition of the massive algal blooms consumes vast amounts of dissolved oxygen, creating dead zones where fish and other aquatic organisms struggle to survive. These dead zones can expand, affecting larger areas and more species. The once pristine waters transform into a murky soup, their life-giving properties diminished. The clarity and purity of these waters are lost, replaced by a polluted and lifeless environment. Imagine a wetland, a vibrant tapestry of life teeming with birdsong and the rustling of unseen creatures. Now picture it slowly shrinking, the land drying and cracking under the relentless heat of a changing climate. This is the stark reality facing countless freshwater ecosystems as habitat loss and alteration accelerate. Wetlands, often called the kidneys of the earth for their ability to filter pollutants and regulate water flow, are particularly vulnerable. As temperatures rise and precipitation patterns shift, they face the dual threats of drought and drainage, their once lush landscapes transforming into arid wastelands. Riverbanks, once stabilized by a rich tapestry of vegetation, erode at an alarming rate as floods intensify. The homes and breeding grounds of countless species crumble into the rising waters, leaving behind a fragmented and degraded habitat. Chapter 5. Invasive Species Proliferation. In the delicate balance of nature, the arrival of a new species can have unintended and often devastating consequences. Climate change, with its disruptive influence, is exacerbating the threat of invasive species, tipping the scales in their favor and jeopardizing the integrity of freshwater ecosystems. Picture a lake, once home to a diverse community of native fish, now overrun by an aggressive, non-native species. These invaders, often introduced through human activities, thrive in the warmer waters and altered conditions brought about by climate change. With few natural predators to keep them in check, they multiply rapidly, outcompeting native species for food, habitat, and resources. The once harmonious web of life unravels as the invaders disrupt established food chains and alter the very fabric of the ecosystem. Chapter 6. Altered Species Distribution. In the face of a changing climate, species are voting with their fins, embarking on desperate journeys in search of hospitable waters. This climate-driven migration is reshuffling the distribution of species in freshwater ecosystems, leading to ecological mismatches and unforeseen consequences. Imagine a river system, its waters once teeming with a specific species of fish. As temperatures rise, these fish, seeking refuge in cooler waters, migrate upstream, leaving behind their traditional spawning grounds and prey. This shift can have cascading effects throughout the ecosystem. Predators, accustomed to finding their prey in familiar locations, may struggle to adapt, while prey species, now free from their natural enemies, could experience population booms, potentially overgrazing vital vegetation. Chapter 7. Impact on water quality. Water, the elixir of life, is becoming increasingly precious as climate change tightens its grip on our planet. Freshwater ecosystems, already grappling with a multitude of threats, are now facing a decline in water quality, jeopardizing the health of both humans and wildlife alike. Imagine a city, its inhabitants reliant on a nearby river for their drinking water. As temperatures rise and rainfall patterns become more erratic, the river's flow dwindles, concentrating pollutants and increasing the risk of contamination. Agricultural runoff laden with fertilizers and pesticides becomes more difficult to dilute, posing risks to both human health and aquatic life. The very water that sustains us becomes a source of concern, a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of human and environmental health. Outrow a call to action. As we've journeyed through the intricate and interconnected world of freshwater ecosystems, one message rings clear. Climate change is altering these vital habitats in profound and often devastating ways. From rising water temperatures to altered flow patterns, The impacts of our changing climate are rippling through these delicate ecosystems, jeopardizing biodiversity, water quality, and the essential services they provide. But there is still hope. By understanding the challenges facing freshwater ecosystems, we can take action to mitigate the impacts of climate change and protect these vital resources for generations to come. What actions do you think can be taken to protect freshwater ecosystems in the face of climate change? Join us next time as we explore innovative solutions for conserving our vital water resources.